All right, everybody, how's it going? It is Tuesday, November 30th, 2021, and of course, we just finished with Week 12 of the NFL, so now we're on to Week 13. Regarding Week 12, we had a pretty good week. We went 9-6, not the greatest week, had a few games not exactly go our way, but that's all right. We still went above 500. We pushed our win total to over 100 finally, which is good. We're at 105, 74, and 1. Almost burped. Usually when I burp before one of these, it's a great week, so that's a good sign. Sorry about that. Anyway, so let's get started. Sorry, I just drank a shitload of water to get myself hydrated or whatever, to get the vocal cords nice and loose. So, all right. Week 12 went all right. Hopefully week 13 goes well. We have only 14 games this week because there's four teams out. It's the Panthers, Browns, Packers, and Titans. Try saying that really fast. Panthers, Browns, Packers, Titans. Actually, I got it now. Earlier, I was having trouble with it. It was kind of giving me a little bit of problem. But yeah, so I don't know. Let's hop into this week, and hopefully we have a good, week 13. Packers and Titans really needed the byes this week. So did the Browns. Panthers, too. These are some banged-up teams that have byes this week, and you can tell that the later byes kind of impacted their overall team health, maybe. Except the Titans. They're just kind of SOL. All right, Thursday Night Football. There's some ramifications with this one. The Cowboys take on the Saints in New Orleans. Cowboys are 4.5-point favorites still with an over-under of 47, despite I think there's like 7 or 8 potential COVID cases for the Cowboys, that it's including like a number of coaches. I believe Dan Quinn's going to be coaching this game against the team he's struggled to beat in his career as an Atlanta Falcons coach. For the Saints, Taysom Hill's expected to make his first start. I think Alvin Kamara is expected to return. Ingram's expected to return. I'm sure Ramczyk's going to be playing. And that's part of the reason why I think the Saints pull off this upset. I don't have a ton of upsets this week. I think I've only got 2, maybe 3 of them. But this week you'll see why, because the games feel like there's a lot of disparity between the teams. If an upset does happen, it'll be one of the crazier ones of the year again. You'll see when we get going, though. But yeah, with this game, the Cowboys have been struggling as of late. I'm not really sure as to why. Their offense has been hit and miss. They're playing kind of inconsistent football again. Whereas, like, the Saints, yeah, they've looked bad, but that was, Simeon without both their running backs, without a tackle. So I'm wondering, do they look much improved now that they have this back, right? They lost to the Eagles and I believe the Bills in kind of an embarrassing fashion. But you have to also consider they were missing, everything. So now we're going to see what Taysom Hill can do. We're going to see what both their running backs look like. We're probably going to see a Kamara that's on a mission from hell to destroy a team this week, to get his team back into it, to put his team back into the playoff race, because the Saints are still alive. I imagine they're going to come at this game with the ferocity now that they have a number of their important pieces on offense back. So give me the Saints in this one, especially with the Cowboys missing a number of coaches. It's the coaching that makes it worrisome. Dan Quinn can't just focus on the defense. He has to be the head coach. Priorities change, and it's a short week. I kind of like a home team on a short week when the Cowboys are in a bit of disarray. Give me the Saints. All right, let's go to Sunday. Let's look at some of the New York Giants take on the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins are 3-point favorites with an over-under of 41.5. The Dolphins have been playing great defense over the last, they beat, 4 or 5 games straight. I think it's 4 or 5. I don't remember what exactly their winning streak is, but they've put together a 4 or 5 game winner. Sorry, I don't know it off the top of my head. I apologize. But they've played great defense across that with pretty good offense from Tua, who's completed like 80% of his passes, so he had a great little game against the Panthers. Good job for him. So that means the Dolphins are coming to this game pretty hot. The Giants, they're playing up and down, hit and miss, left and right football. It seems like they can beat division opponents or teams that are worse than them, so that's good to know. But I feel like the Giants running into a team like Miami, who's playing their best football this season, great defense, their offense is clicking. I feel like the Giants are running into a buzzsaw here, and this could be an ugly game for them. I feel like a big reason why they were able to beat the Eagles is because, it's a division matchup. Those can go either way. In this case, you're getting one of a defense that seems to have found its footing again at home too. So just give me the Dolphins over the Giants. It could be uglier than what I have as a score, and this game too. Indianapolis knows it has to win here, so it's going to be the Colts and the Texans in Houston, with the Colts as a 9.5-point favorite with an over-under of 46. By the way, all the lines are from FanDuel, and I just have them on here just for show. It's kind of just, for you guys there who like to see the lines and see who's the underdog. I put these in after I make my picks, so they have really no bearing on who I think is going to win. So, however you want to consider that. But yeah, the Colts are favored to win this game. They should win this game on the road. It shouldn't be much of a challenge. The Texans, they've beaten 2 teams in their division, so I guess they could maybe beat a third, but that would be highly unlikely. I could imagine Jonathan Taylor having quite a big game in this game. I could imagine Wentz having kind of a rebound game. The Colts are going to have this as a 7-6 get-right type game. And I'm sure the Eagles fans are getting happier and happier, because I think we're almost to the point now where the Colts lose their first-round pick because Carson's played in a number of games for them this year. Most of their snaps, probably. All right. Let's go on to the Minnesota Vikings and Detroit Lions, another game that doesn't need a lot of insight. See what I mean by there isn't a lot of insight to these games so far, except the first one. The Vikings take on the Lions in Detroit. A lot of people think the Vikings could be upset in this game, and I hope so, but I'm not picking the Lions right now, not till they win a game. I'll get this wrong happily, but right now, man, the Lions just, every time people think they're going to finally do it, they just look even worse. Vikings are 7-point favorites with an over-under of 46.5, or they lose in a more heartbreaking way, another walk-off field goal to beat the Lions this year against the Bears. I don't know. The Vikings seem to do good against bad teams and bad against like good or decent to good teams, so it should be a pretty good walk in the park for them against the mediocre Lions team that they already beat. Sure, they had to do it on a walk-off field goal, but I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. Another great game to talk about a lot about. We have the Eagles taking on the Jets. In New York, in New Jersey, I guess. Eagles are 6.5-point favorites with an over-under of 45.5. Last week, the Jets did get the win over the Texans, which, that was because they played the Texans. But they do run into an Eagles team that is a lot better than they've been. This really shouldn't be much of a challenge for the Eagles. They should be able to handle this quite well. As long as they don't come into this game and underestimate the Jets' ability to kind of play defense, they should be able to win this game. But if they think that the Jets can't kind of play defense, then they actually might lose this game and be kind of embarrassed in the process. Because as much as we like to clown on the Jets, and as bad as they've been all season, they do play somewhat decent defense, and at times they look competent at times on offense. It's rare, but they do have fleeting moments, especially when the team comes in kind of doubting them. They can kind of strike and get a crazy W. But I don't think the Eagles are going to do that. I think they come in, treat their opponent, because they're not really that much better record-wise. So, again, as long as they don't come in overlooking this game, the Eagles should win that one quite handily. It's like I said, these games don't provide much of a reason to, break them down or anything like that. And that's what I mean by there's a disparity in matchups. This is another great example. The Arizona Cardinals are taking on the Chicago Bears. The Cardinals are 7.5-point favorites with an over-under of 45.5, coming off a much-needed bye. I'm imagining they might have D-Hop and Murray back. Even if they don't, I have them winning this game quite handily. I think their defense will be able to contain young Justin Fields quite well, and the Bears, the hit-and-miss, super inconsistent offense that barely could do anything against Detroit. The Cardinals, though, they'll probably do their thing. They'll look good on offense. They'll look good on defense. And there's not really too much the Bears can do about it in this game. So, see what I mean? But, if the Bears won, it would be, a crazy upset. You know what I mean? It would be what? All right, here's one of the few games of the week that I could actually provide some fun breakdown into, where I'm actually oh, this is a good one. I think this was one of the games that was rumored to be going to Sunday night, but they wound up choosing Denver and Kansas City. That's still a fair matchup. It's all playoff teams. Are really close playoff teams. Denver's still in the hunt, which is crazy to think about. Good for the Broncos, by the way. We got the Chargers and Bengals, though, in this one, 6-5 versus 7-4. Bengals are 3-point favorites with an over-under of 50.5. And The reason I have them winning is because they're in Cincinnati. If this was in LA, I'd have the Chargers winning. So that's my major reason here, because I do think this is a fun matchup. It's a battle of what we're going to see like 4 years down the road, probably in the playoffs at a consistent rate, of Joe Burrow versus Justin Herbert. Two very good young teams led by young quarterbacks. Both have some issues in games. You know, sometimes they don't look as sharp in terms of defense for the Bengals, in terms of offense and defense for the Chargers. You could probably credit the Chargers looking a little less sharp and consistent at times because of the new coaching. You know, everything's kind of new for them. Whereas the Bengals, they have some like down moments, but like they seem overall a bit more consistent than the Chargers. And I think that's because they've been like with the same coaches for like 3 years. Though the system was garbage for a while, I mean, it's the same thing. So there's a level of comfortability, familiarity. The coach is more familiar, knows the game a little bit, probably better than the coach of the Chargers right now. Has a little bit more feel of how to be a head coach. And those are major reasons why I think the Bengals will win this game. It comes down for me to coaching, how the teams look in terms of consistency, which I'll give the Bengals major plus to the Chargers on that one, because the Bengals do seem a bit more consistent. I think the Bengals have a slightly better defense than the Chargers, especially when it comes to things like the run. You could really see Joe Mixon have quite a big game against this Chargers team, who have, at times this season have been very bad against the run. I don't know. It should be a really good game, though. I could see why a lot of people would pick the Chargers, but the way when I look at it, I'm like, all right, I'll go down my list, right? I'll go coaching Bengals, defense slightly to the Bengals, offense slightly. That's the hardest one. I view these offenses as very, very even, but slight to Bengals because I see Burrow as a slightly better quarterback, or at least a more confident quarterback than Justin Herbert at this point in their careers, right? It's not by much, but Burrow just seems like a different kind of animal. So give me the Bengals 31-28. Again, if this was in Los Angeles, it might be a little different. And then we get games like this. It's just like, what is this? The last of the 1 o'clock games is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing the Falcons in Atlanta. The Bucs are 10.5 point favorites with an over-under of 50.5. We did pick Atlanta last week. We did get it correct, which is a rare W for me. I actually picked the Falcons win right. I'm very shocked. I see the Bucs winning this one pretty handily. Only reason Atlanta won is because they played the Jaguars, so don't get it twisted on that. So could an upset happen? No. Let's go on to the 4 o'clock game. So yeah, give me Tampa 33-17. Boy, this is again what I mean. If this is an upset, that'd be hilarious, but I don't see it happening. I know the Rams have been bad against playoff teams, but that's Matthew Stafford's whole gimmick. And it's the Jaguars versus the Rams in Los Angeles. The Rams are 13-point favorites with an over-under of 48. Even if they sit Stafford so he can recover with like 14 different injuries that was reported before the game before the Rams-Packers game by Diana Rossini, that Stafford was all banged up. They should win this game quite handily. This is a wild mismatch. It could be one of the craziest upsets probably ever if the Jaguars somehow pull this off, but I really don't see it. I don't really see how they're going to cover all the offensive firepower that's on the field. Stafford beats up on bad football teams. His record against good teams kind of speaks for itself. What is it, like 10-78? It's not great. But yeah, this isn't a playoff team, so I got Stafford destroying the Rams 33-16. Here's another good game that I think this is one of my other upsets. I have one more to go over. Can you figure out which upset it is? Leave your comments down below if you already know what upset I have other remaining this week. Anyway, not really an upset Monday night. Anyway, Washington takes on the Raiders in what I think will be one of the crazier games of the week. I see this. It's in Las Vegas. The Raiders are 3-point favorites with an over-under of 48.5. And this isn't a slight on the Raiders. I just see Washington suddenly having a defense that seems to be waking up. And I feel like if the signs from a few games continue, their defense is getting better and better. It just had kind of its big game. I know the Seahawks haven't been that great on offense, but that was a big game by the Washington's defense. And if they can repeat that effort and play the exact same game that they just did against the Seahawks with a slightly better offense, they can win this game. I think this is going to be one of those kind of wild upsets that you see in the year where Washington all of a sudden has everybody's minds and attention captured for a minute. Heineke's playing good. They seem to be gelling in Washington. They're the 7 seed right now. They're going to be fighting very hard to hold on to that playoff seed that they've given themselves now. And then you got, I think, and it's not that I don't think it was impressive the way Vegas won that game against Dallas. I feel like something's about to happen with Washington this week. I feel like they're about to go on a little run, or they're in the middle of a little run. And Vegas is running into a very unfortunate situation. That's why it's my upset. I don't have a lot of insight, but I do think this is going to be a game to watch at 4 o'clock. Well, it's the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Ravens are 3.5-point favorites with an over-under of 44. It's going to take a lot for the Ravens to lose this game, I would have to imagine. With the way that the Steelers just looked against the Bengals, they might want to consider sitting Big Ben. It's starting to get pretty bad down there in Pittsburgh. Let me tell you, that was a bad performance. Either that or Cincinnati just took out years of frustration on Pittsburgh in the last couple games. I'm not really sure what that was, but I got Baltimore winning quite handily. Pittsburgh looks a little bit perplexed. Big Ben needs to maybe be sat down. They'd have a better shot at winning if they didn't start Ben this week, in my opinion, because the Ravens don't look that great either. They barely were able to pull that off because Baker's blown the hell out too. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Bengals won this division at this point. I don't even know what's going on. The Ravens are like the luckiest 8-3 team I think I've ever seen, but hey, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, right? But they're also clearly good. It's not that, but a lot of luck this year for Baltimore. Boy, oh boy. But sometimes, hey, you can see a team luck their way to a Lombardi. It's happened many, many times. Wouldn't be shocked if it happened again. But yeah, I got the Ravens in this one. The Steelers just seem a bit just out of it. Their defense isn't really hitting anymore, and they seem a bit exhausted with how much they've had to carry the offense. And yeah, Big Ben might need a hanger up. Normally, I'd pick the Seahawks because they seem to do very, very well against the San Francisco 49ers. If you go look this up, it seems like Pete Carroll just dominates this 49ers team, even with Kyle Shanahan. But, man, this Seahawks team is not good right now. And I don't know what's going to fix them. They need to maybe move on from Pete in the offseason and, start building a new team, or I don't know, build a line. And did Russell Wilson rush back too soon? I don't know what's going on with Seattle, but I can't in good conscience pick them right now. Any other situation, like if they were 6-6 or 6-5 or 5-6, or that's probably as low as I'd go, but I'd pick them to win this game because they do have a good track record versus the 49ers. This was a tough game actually because of that track record. But ultimately, the way that the 49ers are playing football, it's really hard to pick against them. Their defense is clicking. Their offense is doing what it has to do. Garoppolo's playing good, decent to good football at times. They're running quite well. I know they're going to be without Deebo Samuel, but everybody else on this team is stepping up. That running back, Wilson, Kittle's been playing well. So I don't know, man. The 49ers are playing good football. They've been playing, and when they're playing like this, they're very hard to beat. We know what they're doing. And we know their defense is playing well, they're running well, and their quarterback's playing well. This team, when they've done this, they've been very good. So even with guys like Nick Mullins, they've been good and hard to beat when they're doing exactly this. So Seahawks are unfortunately running into a team that, though they have good success against, they're in a very bad spot. The 49ers seem to have found their good spot this season, and that's just an unfortunate situation for the Seahawks to run into at this point in the season. Again, if they were 2 wins better, this is an entirely different game. If I'm Seattle, I'm really re-examining the health of Russell Wilson right now, because it's dude, what is wrong? Are you sure your fingers are all right? They should have been able to win that game yesterday. I don't know what's going on with the Seahawks. Maybe a Seahawks fan can help me down in the comments. Let me know. I don't know. Because I like Wilson, but it's weird to see them this off. So that's another, I have to go with San Fran because they just seem off. Yeah, any other time, though, you should pick Seattle in this game. I'm probably going to get that wrong. I'm pissed. Then we got the Denver Broncos and Kansas City Chiefs. This should be a really fun game to watch. The Chiefs are 10-point favorites with an over-under of 47.5. Denver's been playing great defense lately. Ever since they traded Von Miller, a whole different team has emerged. It's almost like the players felt insulted that the ownership felt that the team needs to get rid of players and kind of rebuild. So they're like, hell no, we shouldn't have did that. And now we're seeing the Broncos kind of play with a bit of an edge, a bit more aggression. The issue is, I think Kansas City also found their fucking balls. They're playing better offense. They're playing the thing is, they're playing defense all of a sudden, right? Like, if their defense shows up and it's the defense that's been out the last couple games, I think Denver is going to struggle mightily scoring points in this game. If their offense can look more like they did when they scored 30 and less like they did when they only scored, 19 the other week against Dallas, or 16, whatever they scored, but their defense looks like that, they can win this game and it won't even be a challenge for them. But if their offense, if they start making mistakes, throwing interceptions, which the Broncos will take advantage of, which I actually have them scoring defensive points in this game, maybe even two touchdowns on defense, because the Chiefs have been a bit sloppy with it. Mahomes has thrown a bit more picks. These guys kind of know how to pick them off a little bit better this year, and they know where to go when the ball's thrown, and they're, that's just common. Mahomes will get used to it. He'll make the adjustments. He'll get better. Yada yada yada. And I think he's already doing that as the year's progressing. But the Broncos are a really bad team to turn the ball over against or have turnover tendencies because they tend to score on those turnovers, and that's what will keep this game close. But ultimately, I do think because the way the Chiefs defense has been playing, the Broncos will struggle to score on offense, and that's what will keep them from winning this game. Now, if I'm wrong here, and if the Chiefs defense just collapses in on itself, but I don't think so. I think adding Melvin Ingram has allowed them to fundamentally change their defense. I think Ingram plays DE and Chris Jones has been slid back down to defensive tackle. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that has made a lot of difference for their defense, or they just put them on both on the ends. I don't know what they're doing, but Ingram definitely has changed life in Kansas City, and I don't know if the Broncos are quite ready for that. But they will keep it close with their defense, and the way the Chiefs offense has been pretty inconsistent this year. So watch for this to be a really good Sunday night game. I'm glad this got flexed in over this one, San Francisco and the Seahawks. That was what was going to be Sunday Night Football this week. I'm glad this got flexed in. Much better game. Broncos could upset the Chiefs in this one, but the problem for me is I think the Chiefs, with the way they've been playing defense, are going to stop the Broncos from being able to do much on that side of the ball. But I do see the Broncos scoring maybe twice on defense, actually, on a pick six, because Mahomes is pretty prone this year. Now, not to shit on him, but he's thrown a lot of picks this year. All right, best game of the week. Monday Night Football for the AFC East. Oh, boy. Oh, boy, is this going to be a good one. And I actually do have reason for this. I could just not give a reason and just be a shithead and be like, well, I think my team's going to win. But no, I'm going to give the actual reason. Bills are favored by 3 with an over-under 43.5. When I look at this game, I want to look to a couple things that have made the Bills play questionable football, right? Like the Jaguars ran the ball pretty well on the Bills. The Titans ran the ball pretty well on the Bills. Like, when you go and look at the teams that have been able to beat Buffalo, one of the things that they've been able to do and utilize, what did the Colts do well against the Bills? Ran the shit out of it, and Buffalo wasn't able to deal with it. Run. I think all of their wins have come from teams that can run the ball well. Najee Harris and the Steelers. The Jaguars, it went for like 80 yards, which was like a season high. You have to consider they probably run for like 30 yards a game otherwise. The Colts, Jonathan Taylor, that was a big game. And of course, Derrick Henry is Derrick Henry. Now, when you look at what the Patriots do very, very well, is they're a running team. They have Damian Harris. They have Ramondre Stevenson, who's having a big year. They have Brandon Bolden, who's breaking back out as like a pass-catching dual runner threat. And that's 3 different running backs that they can cycle in and out, in and out, in and out. And they're always fresh, and they're always ready to run, always ready to go. And this is a Bills team that does have struggles with stopping the run. So what is the Patriots going to do? Well, they're going to run it. And if the Bills decide to sell out against the run, which is what teams have tried to do against New England, which is what the Titans tried to do against New England, they sold out and stopped the run. Mac Jones had his best passing game. So now you have to also consider, oh shit, this isn't the same Patriots team that we've seen in years past. This is a team that can now throw the ball. This isn't them from last year. Now with Trey White out, which is very unfortunate for the Bills, do they have enough on their secondary with just Micah Hyde and their safety to play? I forgot the name of their other safety. I do apologize. They have very good safeties. I'm not trying to take that away, and they'll utilize those great in the run and pass. But is that enough to make up for a team that is actually finding a very good passing attack, at least a very competent passing attack, and a very good run game? We have to wait and see what the Bills do now, because if they sell out to stop the run, are they going to give up too much on the pass now? There's the problem for the Bills. I'm wondering what their defense is going to look like without Trey White against a team that is very, very good at the run and uses the run to set up their passing game. And if the Bills are selling out for the run, then they might get very burned on pass attempts, like Kendrick Bourne on play action. It's one of those things you have to keep thinking of. And also, the Bills have Josh Allen, and they've had a few games where they've looked a little ugly with picks, and if they're kind of a little bit careless with the football, we've seen J.C. Jackson be a vacuum to it. The Patriots have played great defense all season. I'm not going to say the Bills haven't either, but there have been certain games against certain teams where they do not do, where teams that kind of key on the run and use run first, the Bills have struggles with those teams, and that's what the Patriots are. And I also want to look to one of the things I noted what the Patriots are going to do is try to keep the Bills' offense off the field. When that happens, I've seen Josh Allen struggle to play good football, to play consistently good football. It seems like there is still a little bit of panic in his game when every drive has to count, which is something he'll work out of. But it's a very common thing young quarterbacks struggle with. Mahomes did for a little while. When they keep you off the field, in every drive has to count, every throw has to be perfect. It can kind of add to the pressure. Not to mention, this could be a big game. The Bills, I think, keep it very, very close, and I think it comes down to a late field goal, whoever wins this one. But again, that's my reason. I think the Bills are going to struggle with the run, and I think the fact that the Patriots will be able to keep them off the field with the fact that, with the struggle with the run and, long drives, we're going to see a little bit of struggle from Josh Allen, maybe an untimely turnover or two from that offense, and then we'll see what So that's why I think the upset will happen. That was very long-winded, so give me the Patriots over the Bills. Let's get the hell out of here. All right, that's all my pick stuff. We're at 58.6%, 105s and 74 and 1. But all right, I hope you enjoyed the picks this week. That was a long explanation for Monday night, but well worth it. To prove why I'm not just being biased, you know what I mean? I know the Bills are very, very good, so don't get that wrong. I just think the Patriots will win this game for the reasons I said. But all right, let me know what you think down below. Leave your likes, subscribe, and all that. I appreciate that, all that YouTube stuff. If you leave your comments with your picks down below, what you think overall, I'll make sure I get back to you as soon as I can. Yeah, that's basically it. YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, leave a comment with your picks and all that. You know the drill by now. Most people that watch this have been watching for a few years, so we're getting close. We're 40 subscribers away from the 7,000, so we're getting there. We're etching it away. I wonder if we have a month to go to hit the goal. I think we'll do it. I genuinely do. So thank you guys so much. We're still on the way to 7K, and we'll see if we get it. All right, have a good rest of your day, night, whenever you listen to this. And yeah, go Lions, go Tigers, and of course go Patriots. Peace out, and Monday night, can't wait to watch that one. Gonna be a war. Tune in for a live watch. You.